This page is the lively cover of the April 1990 issue of BeepMD magazine. It's a fantastic snapshot from a pivotal time, announcing its exciting transition to a monthly publication schedule with a special preparation issue. The vibrant artwork features a quirky musical theme with a large, whimsical instrument overflowing with stars and colorful shapes, perfectly capturing the energetic spirit of the era's gaming scene. Key highlights featured on the cover include a reader survey where 500 BeepMD fans shared their thoughts, giving a direct insight into the community's perspective at the time. There's also a special project feature focusing on game developer Toaplan and their latest endeavors. As for the games, the magazine promises in-depth coverage or strategy guides for some major titles. This includes the high-speed arcade classic Afterburner 2, Taito's charming platformer, The New Zealand Story, the deep-action RPG Sorcerian, the baseball simulation telephone stadium, and, notably, the highly anticipated epic Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom, which was just hitting the scene. This list alone shows the diverse range of games available on the Mega Drive at the time, from arcade ports to sprawling RPGs. The bottom mentions a giveaway of MD miniatures to celebrate the move to monthly status. This page is a prominent feature on the highly anticipated Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom for the Sega Mega Drive. Dominating the page is a stunning illustration of the game's protagonist, sword in hand. The text introduces the game as Generations of Time and sets the stage 1,000 years after the legendary L'Arachio War, a pivotal event from Phantasy Star II. It promises to unveil the mysteries and secrets surrounding that conflict. Phantasy Star II is presented as an RPG that seeks to explore new territory within the genre, offering players an unprecedented adventure filled with excitement. This feature serves as a compelling teaser for the next chapter in the beloved Phantasy Star series. This page is dedicated to Phantasy Star II, Generations of Doom for the Sega Mega Drive. Titled Revived from His Power, the feature highlights the game's groundbreaking multi-scenario and multi-ending RPG system. The text explains that this new system offers fresh and enjoyable gameplay, providing a sense of adventurous discovery. It emphasizes that not only the gameplay but also the ending will vary, with multiple outcomes prepared to provide a rewarding conclusion to the player's journey. The page includes 3 screenshots showcasing different aspects of the game, including exploration within a town, an indoor area, and the overworld map. Information about the game's release is provided, stating a standard retail price of 8,700 yen, the inclusion of a backup function, and a scheduled release for late April. A section on the right features the Sega Mega Drive console, promoting its 16-bit power and listing its standard retail price of 21,000 yen, along with contact information for Sega Enterprises. The next page features the action shooting game, Assault Suit Lanos, released internationally as Target Earth. The page showcases a dynamic illustration of the game's mechs, highlighting the intense combat theme. The text introduces the scenario: defending a resource base on Ganymede near Jupiter from an attack by unidentified forces, leading to the deployment of the elite assault suit units. The game boasts multi-directional scrolling across expansive battlefields, offering beautiful graphics and an exciting background score. Players will navigate through 8 distinct scenarios, ranging from initial enemy encounters and escape sequences, to atmospheric entry, frontline defense, and battles within a space colony. Gameplay is enhanced by numerous optional weapons for upgrading the player's assault suit. The page includes several screenshots depicting action across space, ground, and interior environments. Target Earth was slated for a March 24th release, priced at 6,200 yen, excluding tax, and utilized a 4 mega ROM. This page features the 3D shooting game, Air Diver, an exclusive title for the Sega Mega Drive. The central image is a striking pixel art illustration showing the cockpit view of the F-119 stealth fighter in action, complete with its Vulcan cannon firing and an enemy exploding. The game promises dynamic dogfights, with features like lock-on missiles and afterburners, emphasizing realistic controls and unpredictable enemy attacks. Supporting images include a strategic map for mission selection, a detailed breakdown diagram of the F-119 aircraft, and a visual guide to the cockpit display indicators like radar and fuel levels. Air Diver was released on March 9th for 6,800 yen. This page features the arcade hit Atomic Robo Kid, making its way to the Sega Mega Drive. The main focus is a large, somewhat distressed illustration of the titular robot character, reflecting the message presented in the blue box. The text announces that the release is finally approaching, apologizing for previous delays, and confirms a planned May release date at 6,800 yen. Bullet points highlight the game's features, calling it an action version up of the popular arcade game, combining maze plus shooting action with beautiful graphics and various characters. At the bottom, 3 screenshots showcase different stages and enemies from this intense side-scrolling shooter, giving a glimpse of the varied environments and boss encounters players can expect. The game is being handled by Treco. This page features a comprehensive guide to the latest and most popular RPGs, declaring that gaming has truly entered a golden age for the genre. The guide highlights new releases expected from March to May, including titles like Final Fantasy II and Phantasy Star II. It also covers highly popular games released since February, such as Dragon Quest IV and Wizardry. A catalog section looks back at RPGs released over the past few months, featuring games like YSI and 2. Beyond game listings, the page includes special discussions on RPG sound, with composers and profiles of influential game creators. Screenshots on the page show turn-based battle scenes, appearing to be from Phantasy Star II, showcasing some of the creatures and interface elements players would encounter. This guide covers a wide range of RPGs across multiple platforms. This page is the cover of a specialty magazine dedicated entirely to the Game Boy, published by SoftBank MOOC. The bold title across the front declares it is Game Boy Life. Priced at 480 yen including tax, the cover promises a comprehensive guide to 51 games currently being discussed. Key features highlighted include a hot-blooded avant-garde declaration, with contributions from notable personalities like Jun Miura and Shungiku Uchida. There's also a shopping derby feature, reviewing 27 games released by December 1989 to find the best buys. The magazine delves into a hyper-intelligent lecture, questioning if the Game Boy is our cyberspace deck, a secret great survey capturing the true feelings of 38 third-party companies, and a new game training introduction, aiming to fully master Final Fantasy Legend and Gradius. It also includes USA Game Boy information, covering hot topics from overseas, and a Nintendo special interview proclaiming that the era of the Game Boy has arrived. The cover design features a large logo and a smaller inset, showing a colorful cartoon illustration with Game Boy characters and mentions of the 51 Games Guide and Mastering Final Fantasy Legend and Gradius. This page presents a lineup of Mega Drive magazine issues. The February 1990 issue asks if the Mega Drive can save the game world and features a Mega Drive quiz, a California Communications special, a look at CES 90, an illustration feature, and thorough guides covering games like Assault Suits Lanos and Sorcerian. The February 1990 special issue announces the Mega Drive Academy Award winners, discusses a popular ongoing series, looks back at 1990, and includes thorough guides for Vermilion and other titles, plus a special Mega Drive calendar. The autumn 1989 special issue covers the Mega Drive Academy Award Even Festival, pits Ultraman against Batman, previews new games with screenshots like Afterburner 2 and Kageki, provides thorough guides for Airdiver, Phantasy Star 2, Zoom, and Atomic RoboKid, and includes a report from the AM show and a special Herzog Zwei map and strategy guide. The regular autumn 1989 issue features a showdown between the Mega Drive and Super Famicom, investigates mystery exploration games like Twilight Zone, continues the hot-blooded Mega Drive Declaration series, and explores building an RGB cable. Finally, the summer 1989 special issue focuses on the hot-blooded Mega Drive Declaration, tells the story of Phantasy Star II, covers Osomatsu-kun, features a guide for Dream Team, includes a B-Mega sound report, covers Japanese RPG trends, and discusses technology trends from California. Each issue is priced at 480 yen, including tax. This page serves as the table of contents for the April 1990 issue of Mega Drive magazine. It features a breakdown of the key articles within. The New Work Scramble section on page 12 dives into the latest game releases, covering titles such as Psycho Blade, Crackdown, DJ Boy, Monster Lair, Whiplash, Insector X, Phelios, and Thunder Force 2 Eyes, highlighting them as the current hot menu of new games. Page 17 continues the Mega Hot Menu, focusing on other talked about titles like Ghostbusters, Darwin 4081, and Final Blow, promising to provide quick insights into these games. Starting on page 26, the Thorough Master of New Work section offers in-depth guides, beginning with Afterburner 2, followed by strategies for New Zealand Story, Sorcerian, Telephone Stadium, and a comprehensive look at Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom. Finally, a special feature on page 73 presents the results of a survey asking 500 BeepMD readers about their perceptions of game developers' images. The page is illustrated with screenshots that appear to showcase an RPG or adventure game and a space shooter, likely representing titles covered within the issue. This page serves as the table of contents, offering a look inside this issue of Mega Drive. The top of the page features screenshots from exciting games like the boxing sim Heavyweight Champ, the intense vertical shooter Whip Rush, and the action platformer Mystic Defender. The issue kicks off with a special feature on page 41, the second part of a hot-blooded Mega Drive declaration for 1990, highlighting developers like TOS and Wolf Team. Further in, page 77 details a first-hand experience trying out the Mega Drive's modem capabilities, alongside announcing winners from a reader quiz featured on page 46. Page 56 introduces the Hot Video Club. Beyond the main features, the table of contents lists regular columns covering BeepMD news, an industry commentary, a look at classic game graphics, and sections dedicated to game sound and reader contributions. There are also features on Japanese RPGs, technology trends, and a section dedicated to game data and upcoming software release schedules, providing a comprehensive guide to the world of Mega Drive gaming. This page covers the BeepMD news section, reporting from the AOU 1990 Amusement Expo at Makuhari Messe, described as transforming into a cyber amusement park. The reviewer, admittedly not an expert but keen on gaming, shares their excitement simply being able to play arcade games at the massive venue. The report highlights several new arcade machines on display. Sega's booth featured titles like the baseball game MVP and the racing game Laugh Racer. But the body-sensory flight simulator Glock was a standout, appealing to fans of dogfight combat. Other Sega simulations like Racing Hero and Laser Ghost, along with a new version of air hockey called New Speed Hockey, were also noted. In the realm of video games, the reviewer focused on shooting games. Irem's vertical SHMUP Air Duel was recommended, praised for its graphics and challenging 7 stages. Konami's comedic Parodius Da, a popular parody of classics like Gradius and Twinbee, also received a positive mention. The report concludes by observing how arcade machines are evolving into impressive entertainment systems, showcased by titles like Capcom's 1941 and Commando, suggesting a new wave in the industry. This page continues the report from the AOU 1990 Amusement Expo, with the reviewer expressing appreciation for a variety of arcade games beyond typical shooters. They enjoyed Tecmo's carnival-like booth, with redemption games like UFO Shooter and Dream Chance, winning plush toys, and also secured a prize from Taito's Attract Land Crane game. Spank's Neo Geo multi-video system, first shown in the previous issue, made its debut here, impressing with its realistic home gaming capabilities. The reviewer played Magician Lord, praising its detailed graphics and sound, and noted the system's high popularity. At the Data East booth, they checked out new pinball machines like RoboCop and the Phantom of the Opera. Despite pinball being somewhat retro, these machines were surprisingly high-tech, though the reviewer personally preferred the slightly classic feel of the Phantom of the Opera. Other memorable mentions include Jaleco's tasty Jajamaru popcorn machine and Taito's moving Ashita no Joe exhibit. The overall impression of the show was positive regarding venue and presentation, but the reviewer felt the main video game exhibits lacked the expected impact. The report concludes by introducing the reviewer, Takazoku Ikeda, a collector of diverse interests beyond games, promising to share more of his Supermania in the next issue. This page introduces the new release Scramble, highlighting upcoming games for the Mega Drive, including Blade, Crackdown, DJ Boy, Wonder Boy 2-1, Monster Lair, Whiplash, and Thunder Force 2-1. The main focus is on Blade, presented as the Mega Drive's first adventure game, based on a previous PC title. The reviewer expresses high expectations, particularly for the enhanced animation sequences, which were a key feature of the original. The game's story is set in the late 21st century, following a crew on an interstellar exploration vessel, the Septimius II. After completing a mission at Barnard's Star, their return journey to Earth is complicated by a computer malfunction, and underlying political tensions involving military, scientists, and politicians. Gameplay involves interacting with the environment by pointing a cursor, with detailed interaction down to the pixel level suggested as a way to progress. The reviewer notes that the game's development is proceeding smoothly, and hints that the latter part of the game might include shooting elements, likening it to a mix of Galaxy Force and Afterburner 2. Screenshots show character portraits, spaceship interiors and exteriors, and various space scenes, showcasing the detailed animation. More details are promised in the next issue. This page dives into 3 more upcoming Mega Drive titles. First up is Crackdown, an arcade port described as a tactical action game viewed from above. You infiltrate enemy hideouts to plant time bombs, navigating intricate layouts and avoiding detection. It features a somewhat subdued feel, focusing on strategic infiltration rather than flashy combat, and supports 2-player co-op. The screenshots give a clear view of the overhead perspective and the 2-player characters, Ben and Andy. Next is DJ Boy, a street fighting game on roller skates starring a young protagonist. Updates from a previous report note that the character's actions have been made more dynamic, adding moves like crouching punches and refined jump kicks. The game will also feature a comic-style intro demo. Screenshots showcase the game's vibrant, street-level combat with characters on skates. Finally, the page covers Wonder Boy 2-1, Monster Lair, the 3rd installment in the Wonder Boy series, initially released only in North America. This is a colorful side-scrolling action game split into 2 halves. Platforming action, followed by a shooting sequence. It features a significant number of stages, totaling 14, and includes a co-op character, likely Princess Tina. The screenshots highlight both the platforming and shooting segments, confirming its distinct gameplay structure. It's stated that development is proceeding at a rapid pace. This page gives us an urgent report on the upcoming Sega original super hard shooter, Whiplash. The game features 8 stages and sees humanity seeking energy on a distant planet, only to encounter a hostile, unknown enemy. Players are equipped with powerful laser, fire, and missile weapons, each capable of 3 power levels. Unique option units can alter their formation, providing tactical flexibility. The preview takes us through the initial stages. Stage 1 begins in the sky and transitions to a cityscape, where the first boss, a large spaceship, awaits. Stage 2 moves into a forest and underwater environment, featuring a tricky vertical boss with large lasers. Stage 3 is set within a mechanical fortress, culminating in a boss that requires players to target its vulnerable core. Whiplash appears to deliver varied environments and challenging gameplay, living up to its demanding shooter reputation. This page continues the discussion on Whiplash, moving into Stage 4, which takes place in space. Players must navigate asteroid fields and breach an enemy base filled with dangerous pipes and intense attacks. The Stage 4 boss, known as Big Ball, attacks by ramming and requires targeting its core. After taking enough damage, its outer shell is destroyed, revealing an inner form compared to a space alien from Ultraman. With 8 stages in total, the developers warn that the latter half is even more challenging. Described as a solid shooter, Whiplash is nearing completion and was planned for a May release in Japan. Below that, we get a first look at Insector X, published by Hot B and licensed by Taito, with a June release window. This is a challenging shooting game, featuring a 7-stage power-up system for your ship's main shot, acquired by collecting SOT marks dropped by enemies. Starting with a basic shot, it progresses to multiple streams, different shot types like round bullets, and finally increased shot density, making you nearly invincible at the highest level. Special weapons are also present, including powerful missiles that fire 6 at once. Screenshots showcase the various power-up levels and the game's boss, a mechanical insect whose movement is noted as unsettling. This page previews 2 upcoming shooting games. Farios, from Namco, puts players in the role of Apollo on Pegasus, battling mythological creatures to rescue his sister Artemis. The game, due in late May, features straightforward shooting with charge shots and a skill-based difficulty system. The Mega Drive version mirrors the arcade experience. Thunder Force 2i by Technosoft, expected in early June, is a significant upgrade from its predecessor, promising improved graphics, sound, and a stage select. The preview highlights impressive bosses, speed, and diverse power-ups. Development is proceeding smoothly, suggesting a timely release. This page previews the upcoming Sega Mega Drive game Ghostbusters, set for release in May for 6,000 yen. Described as a high-quality character action shooter based on the movie, the game tasks players with controlling the Ghostbusters to clear New York City locations of paranormal activity across 6 rounds. The core gameplay involves shooting and capturing various ghosts, including slimes and bosses, using a beam mechanic where adjusting the beam length is crucial for success. Players can also purchase power-ups and stronger items from a shop. The page shows screenshots of the gameplay, a subscreen for managing equipment, and a map. It also details the character selection screen, presenting the 3 playable characters, Peter Venkman, Raymond Stantz, and Egon Spengler, each with brief descriptions of their attributes. The magazine encourages readers to appreciate the atmosphere shown in the Round 1 map. This page introduces the shops where you can purchase items and gear in Ghostbusters. You'll find a variety of helpful equipment, from health recovery items like gyoza and Peking duck, to utility items like the infrared scope and drill for uncovering secrets. The shops also stock powerful weapons, like the burst gun and piercing shot, along with defensive items such as the barrier for temporary invincibility and a shield to reduce damage. Crucially, the page highlights that the game's true charm lies in its characters. It praises how well the original Ghostbusters trio is represented, with detailed and expressive sprites. The monster designs also receive high marks, featuring both familiar faces from the series, like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Slimer, alongside creative original designs. The reviewer is clearly impressed, giving the character work a perfect score. Several screenshots showcase the detailed artistry, from comical enemy expressions to diverse level environments like icy caves and underwater sections, demonstrating the visual effort put into the game. Ghostbusters faces 2 challenging rounds. Round 1, Haunted House in the Suburbs, tasks players with quieting a haunted house, battling Slimers and spirits. A Humpty Dumpty-like mid-boss transforms into a rabbit, the true target. The final boss is a large, shedding green monster whose skeleton must be exposed to defeat it, awarding a stone fragment. Round 2, Apartments Sealed in Ice, offers a larger map and a $2,500 reward. This round features athletic challenges and an underwater section. Players face 2 mid-bosses, a gloating female ghost and a crystal giant, both with head-based weaknesses. The final boss is a giant snowman, spitting out smaller snowmen and employing a body slam. An ally assists in clearing ice paths. The Ghostbusters game progresses through fiery mansion levels in Round 3, offering a $5,000 reward. Players battle firemen, fire dragon, and a firewall boss, needing barrier attacks for defense. Round 4, Burning My Home, sets a vertical mansion challenge with familiar ghosts and a challenging teacup mid-boss, awarding $3,500. The review is mixed, praising the characters but criticizing the lack of originality and short length, 5 rounds. Weapon variety and the music are also concerns. Garden of Rumors reveals a preview of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the Mega Drive. The game is praised for its fluid action, capturing Michael's persona through his songs and dance sequences. A Romance of the Three Kingdoms game with an original story is also confirmed. This page features a preview of Darwin 4081, a vertical scrolling shooter from Data East being released on the Mega Drive. This game is highlighted as a revival of a classic, adapting the arcade title Darwin 4078. The core mechanic and unique selling point is the ship's evolution system. By collecting special evol items dropped by specific enemies, your spacecraft evolves. However, failing to collect items over time or taking damage can cause devolution, potentially back to the weakest form. The article emphasizes that this evolution isn't a simple linear power-up. Collecting evol at certain points can trigger super evolution, leading to vastly different forms with varied capabilities. Items are presented as critical to progress and should be acquired diligently. Screenshots show the game's vertical scrolling action, displaying the score, stage, ship status, and the intriguing DENA gauge related to the evolution mechanic. Overall, the preview focuses on the unique evolution system that sets this shooter apart. This page continues the preview of Darwin 4081, focusing on the game's crucial items and diverse evolution system. It highlights key power-ups like Bevol, which can trigger sudden mutations different from standard evolution, armor providing a single-hit shield, speed for boosting the ship's movement up to 3 levels, and Darman, a vital item that preserves up to 9 collected evols upon destruction. The main feature is the Rich Evolution Forms section, showcasing 12 of the game's 12+ alpha potential transformations. Each form is illustrated with a screenshot and a brief description of its unique attack pattern, from the initial Bistar and Demeus forms to powerful variations like Elbach, Dodok, and the devastating Sugo Gadir fire lasers. These examples demonstrate the strategic depth and variety the evolution system brings to the gameplay, suggesting that mastering these forms is key to success. Darwin 4081 progresses through 5 distinct stages. Stage 1 features mechanical enemies and ground holes, culminating in a boss that fires in 3 directions. Stage 2 presents a structured panel design and a spinning, tokusatsu-inspired boss with 4 faces. Stage 3 showcases a circuit board background and a unique timer boss whose attack changes when the digits align. Stage 4 shifts between desert and futuristic road environments, introducing a pyramid boss that spawns challenging sand-based enemies. Finally, Stage 5 is a rail shooter with a train-like weapon and a 2-part boss battle, a small initial form followed by a parent-like enemy that reflects shots. The page also mentions a quiz related to the game's release. This page is all about Taito's boxing game, Final Blow. Released on March 23rd for 6,800 yen, it's highlighted as Taito's follow-up to New Zealand's story. The article describes it as a powerful heavyweight boxing game that faithfully recreates intense matches seen in arcades. The page details the game's modes. A 1-player mode where you challenge 4 other boxers to become champion, with opponents getting tougher as you progress. A versus mode for 2 players or practicing against a stationary opponent. And a spectator mode, just for watching the action. There's also a section breaking down the controls and moves. It explains defensive actions like guarding and dodging, and then lists the offensive moves based on your guard stance. Holding the directional button up for a high guard allows for jabs and straights, while holding down for a low guard lets you throw body blows. It also mentions special punches like hooks and uppercuts, which are powerful but slower and less accurate. The page includes screenshots demonstrating these moves in action. This page continues the deep dive into Taito's Final Blow, focusing on the fighters and providing strategic gameplay advice. It features profiles for 5 key boxers: Dynamite Joe, Detroit Kid, King Jae-sin, Fernando Gomez, and Kim Nan. Each profile includes basic stats like age, height, weight, reach, and their fight record. The article then shifts to gameplay tips, urging players to aim for the championship. It advises starting with light jabs, using the A button, and guarding with the C button against rushes. Tactical advice includes clinching when cornered, and using straight punches effectively, especially for boxers with longer reach. It suggests the first round can often be won using these basic tactics, but later rounds require players to find their own winning patterns. The game features wins achieved by knocking down an opponent 3 times, or a draw if time runs out, with the winner determined by the damage gauge. The review praises the detailed boxer expressions, especially when hit, and the impactful sound effects of punches. Finally, it strongly recommends playing the game in multiplayer mode, or setting up tournaments with friends for maximum enjoyment. Screenshots illustrate various moments, from the championship intro and fight start, to dramatic moments like a body blow landing, a boxer recovering from a knockdown, and a victory pose. This page offers a complete master guide for the popular game Afterburner 2, published by Denpa Shimbunshi, and priced at 6,900 yen. This guide, released on March 23rd, aims to provide in-depth information on the game. The guide features a unique narrative approach, starting with a prologue, The Chosen Panda. This introduces Euron, a panda character in a flight suit, who is tasked with a secret mission requiring him to train in Afterburner 2. The guide presents information through a dialogue between Euron, abbreviated as, and the captain of the 7th Flight Squadron, known as Crazy Yatsu, abbreviated as. Their conversation covers starting the training, Euron's surprise at becoming a pilot, a childhood dream, and the capabilities of the F-14 aircraft featured in the game. The captain reassures the nervous panda, stating the aircraft is powerful but easy for a novice pilot like Euron to handle, especially with his aptitude. The dialogue reflects Euron's initial anxiety. I don't feel completely at ease about the intense training and mission ahead. Screenshots accompanying the text show the game's title screen, an aircraft carrier, and glimpses of the high-octane aerial combat featuring the iconic F-14 Tomcat. This page sets the stage for a detailed breakdown of Afterburner 2 gameplay and strategies, presented through this engaging character dialogue. The Afterburner 2 training continues with Euron and Captain Yatsu focusing on a mission to retrieve a secret disk from Z Country. The mission is dubbed the Panda Delivery Service Operation. The guide details flight controls for the customizable F-14XX, nicknamed the Panda Special, which includes acceleration A, missiles, B, and braking, C. Pilots are urged to monitor speed, remaining aircraft, missiles, and the rear radar. The Panda Special boasts a Mach 3 top speed, dual Vulcan cannons with unlimited ammo, and 100 all-aspect, long-range homing missiles. The mission departs from the mothership Sega Enterprise, a 72,000-ton nuclear-powered aircraft carrier, a country's finest vessel, carrying over 80 aircraft. Due to pilot shortages, only one aircraft, the Panda Special, is deployed for this crucial mission. This page continues the Afterburner 2 training guide, focusing on advanced maneuvers and identifying enemy types. While basic operations like ascent, descent, and turning are crucial, they aren't enough to complete the mission. For instance, if an enemy gets behind you, standard movements won't shake them. However, the F-14XX aircraft boasts a Mach 3 top speed. Although accelerating normally only reaches Mach 2.5, pressing the acceleration button twice temporarily boosts you to Mach 3. This is vital for closing distance or escaping. The guide also mentions using quick left-right control reversals to perform a roll, which can evade incoming missiles, though doing it excessively can lead to confusion and failure. The Bogey Album section introduces different enemy aircraft types and their common names given by the pilots. These include aggressive fighters attacking from behind, referred to as foxback, and enemies that attack in groups with missiles, called bind. There's also a bomber type called Way that uses air-to-air missiles at night, nicknamed Black Crier or Dark Liar, and the enemy's latest fastest fighter, known as Cash Summit, due to its cost, which is dangerous in combination attacks. The Bogey Formation section shows screenshots of different enemy formations encountered, including groups of 3, 5, and 7 aircraft, as well as a mixed formation. These images give you a visual reference for identifying the threats you'll face in the skies. This page continues the Afterburner 2 strategy guide, presenting advanced tactics and insights crucial for mastering the game. The briefing section sets a lighthearted tone with character dialogue before diving into serious advice. Key strategies covered include the importance of flying at low altitudes to easily spot enemies, a reiteration of the caution against excessive rolling despite its missile-dodging utility, and a strict warning against pursuing enemies head-on, which leaves you exposed. The guide emphasizes effective long-range missile usage, detailing how to capitalize on air-to-air missiles by identifying enemy locations, prioritizing faster targets, and utilizing the multi-lock system. Defensive pointers are also given, such as avoiding obscuring your view with your own missile smoke, and using the Vulcan cannon for close encounters. The appearance of large transport aircraft is discussed, a common encounter, humorously noted as a special stealth craft piloted by a crazy cat, adding a touch of the magazine's unique personality. The Gachoon character is also featured, offering commentary on planning your weapon usage. This page continues the Afterburner 2 strategy guide, detailing tactics for various stages. The guide covers the over-the-sea stage starting from the carrier, advising quick counters to frontal missile attacks. It moves to over-the-sand, noting increased enemy formations and the need for consistent long-range missile use. The night stage is introduced as the third stage, a tough night battle with new enemy types like bombers and helicopters, demanding strong evasion alongside missile attacks. A humorous character interludes comments on the difficulty, with previous pilots apparently not faring well. The guide then describes Over the Grassland as a potential breather stage with less intense enemy patterns like hit-and-run fighters. Following this is Over the Clouds, where enemies become significantly more challenging, particularly V-shaped formations with heavy missile fire. Finally, the guide highlights Over the Oasis as the challenging climax of the first half, featuring the powerful Foxbat and requiring desperate use of the Afterburner to survive combined frontal missile and rear Vulcan attacks. This page continues the Afterburner 2 strategy guide, offering detailed advice for various situations. It starts by focusing on the 2 bonus stages, highlighting the need to carefully navigate through rocky terrain to destroy stationary targets like tents, trucks, radar towers, and warehouses using your Vulcan cannon. Success here requires slow, precise flight. The guide then touches upon the game's excellent soundtrack, listing some of the impactful tracks that enhance the gameplay, such as Maximum Power Final Takeoff, Redout, and Afterburner, emphasizing their speed and rhythm. Next, it covers emergency situations. When the powerful Foxbat appears, A synthesized voice warns the enemy. Useful tactics in dogfights include using the afterburner to escape or sharply decelerating to get behind the enemy. Being locked onto by enemy missiles also triggers a voice warning. Since these missiles are fast and agile, simply using the afterburner isn't enough. You need to combine it with rolling maneuvers to evade them, while still keeping an eye on enemies ahead. Finally, a humorous character section features an airplane panda and another character discussing missions and anxieties, adding a lighter touch to the guide. This page presents the second installment of a complete strategy guide for the beloved Taito platformer, the New Zealand story. Picking up from the previous issue's introduction, this section focuses on providing in-depth tactics for navigating the game's more challenging areas. It begins by recounting the game's charming premise. Tiki and his girlfriend Fifi, along with other Kiwis, are living happily in New Zealand until they are all kidnapped by the nefarious walrus. Tiki, the only one to escape capture, must venture forth to rescue them. The guide emphasizes Tiki's primary weapon, the bow and arrow, and the importance of utilizing various flying vehicles obtained by defeating enemies, like riding on captured seals or balloons, to progress through the levels. The game is structured into 4 main stages, each comprised of 4 smaller substages, leading up to encounters with the 3 distinct boss characters, the frozen whale, the mechanical bear, and the main antagonist, the walrus. Success hinges on Tiki's bravery and skill to save his friends and reunite with Fifi. This page continues the strategy guide for the New Zealand story, focusing on Stage 13. The main image is a detailed map of the stage, illustrating various paths and key points marked with numbers and letters, including a start and goal. Smaller screenshots show Tiki navigating parts of the level, including jumping from platforms and standing near structures. The guide explains how to get to the shortcut entrance. It details strategies, starting with obtaining a balloon from a funky hopper near the start, which is crucial for progression, similar to stages 11 and 12. It warns about Brickleys appearing at point 1, and provides tactics for defeating them by waiting for them to descend. Point 2 is critical for getting the funky hopper's balloon. The most reliable method is to wait at the 5th wide platform from the top for the funky hopper to drop, and then jump to defeat it and take its balloon. Point 3 is where the paths diverge. Route B is the shortcut course discussed in the previous guide, while Route A is described as a faster, more advanced path depending on skill. The guide notes that Route B requires caution upon exiting the straight path due to continuous attacks from Brickleys, recommending a counterattack with arrows. Route A is said to have less intense attacks than expected, but vigilance is still required. At point 4, double attacks occur, so be especially wary of both funky hoppers and porky pufferfish there. This page continues the strategy guide for the New Zealand story, focusing on Stage 14. The guide is broken into sections covering different challenges within the stage. First, it highlights the importance of obtaining the revival balloon from a funky hopper early in the stage, particularly near the entrance of the waterway on the left. Standard balloons are said to break easily, making the revival balloon the wiser choice for smooth navigation. Next, it addresses a challenging waterway section. The guide advises that the leftmost route is the shortest path, and points out a breathing spot midway through that can be used for resting before continuing to the exit. Navigating this section is described as being quite tough. Another challenge covered is a sudden rapid-fire attack. After proceeding carefully, players will encounter Brickleys, who throw difficult-to-avoid tomahawks. The strategy recommended is to attack immediately upon their appearance, before they can launch their projectiles. Finally, the guide warns about encountering a specific type of rockhopper penguin. Unlike others, this one is impatient, and attacks immediately with its speed attacks as you advance with the metal balloon. The expert advice is to use a preemptive attack to defeat it and survive. The page includes screenshots illustrating these different sections and enemies. The next page continues the strategy guide for the New Zealand story, shifting focus to later challenges and a secret. First, it details how to obtain the beam UFO weapon, essential for subsequent stages. This powerful vehicle is acquired after defeating Elfier, who appears riding a UFO after you've taken a hot air balloon from Woodcarving Town. The guide advises luring Elfier downwards to defeat him, warning that landing the UFO afterward can be tricky. Next, a surprising secret is revealed for Stage 14, noted as quite difficult. The page points out a hidden warp hole near the start of the stage. By repeatedly attacking a specific spot where arrows disappear, a vortex appears, allowing Tiki to warp significantly ahead and skip a large portion of the stage, drastically reducing difficulty and potential damage. Finally, the guide presents the winning technique for the boss battle against the frozen whale in the ice castle stage. The key strategy is to avoid the whale's ice crystal attacks.
When the attack pauses, Tiki must seize the opportunity to jump into the whale's body, which is its weak point. The beam UFO obtained earlier is recommended for its speed, allowing Tiki to quickly reach the boss arena entrance and immediately engage the fight from a safe distance, with the entrance awning acting as a shield. The page humorously questions the whale's strategy of luring Tiki into its own weakness.
This page is a strategy guide for Stage 21 of the New Zealand story. It suggests that while the shortest path to the goal is an option, taking a detour can lead to interesting discoveries. It reveals the location of a warp hole near point 1 on the map, which transports Tiki to point 2. From there, you jump into the water and head towards the goal. The water section is noted as a place to easily collect the valuable extend letters, although this does increase the risk of encountering additional enemies. The guide also explains how to obtain the bird balloon weapon after exiting the water at point 3 by defeating specific enemies. The direct route is mentioned but includes a warning about timing the movement around the prickly enemies near the poster. The page emphasizes that the warp route is a valid and perhaps more explorative way to clear the stage. This page provides a strategy guide for Stage 23 of the New Zealand story. The image features a map of the stage highlighting 2 main routes, labeled A and B, along with screenshots showcasing different areas and enemies encountered. The guide notes that this stage is particularly challenging due to the high frequency of enemy appearances. It suggests exploring a different route than the one taken in the previous stage's guide. 2 primary paths to the goal are presented: the upper route, A, and the lower route, B. For Route A, the advice is to quickly ascend the platforms without focusing on getting the balloon immediately, aiming to reach a safe zone before enemies overwhelm you. Route B involves taking the lower path, specifically passing below the window with the space view to avoid spikes. Getting the resurrection balloon at point 1 and then exiting to the outside world near point 2 is suggested. However, the guide warns that upon exiting, the enemy onslaught intensifies dramatically, with brickleys, wood carvings, funkeepers, and porcupines appearing frequently. Maintaining a certain height is crucial as it prevents enemies from appearing from above. While carefully defeating enemies one by one is possible, the safest strategy if you stop is to quickly make your way to the outside world. This stage is described as significantly tougher than the initial part of the level.
This page features a humorous take on the frustration of dealing with rude people who stand and read in bookstores, framing it as a kind of game. The main article, titled "Seriously Thinking About the Surprising Kitaretsu Reading Game, The Frustration Game," is accompanied by a comic strip showing 2 characters, one standing and observing, the other sitting and looking annoyed while reading. The text delves into strategies for observing and dealing with gaki, kids or brats, who block access or annoy other readers, even joking about using water guns. While it mentions the character Doraemon in dialogue, no specific games are discussed or reviewed in the main content. On the right side, a panel announces the opening of the weekly Kodona consultation room, featuring photos of Jun Miura and Katsuyuki Sato, who will answer reader questions on various life topics. Below this, there's a call for reader submissions, including questions for the consultation and general contributions like game ideas. This page is the front page of the End of the Century Kitaretsu newspaper. It features various columns covering different topics, starting with a society section discussing recent events, like a drunken editor's antics in Roppongi and a fan singing at a Rolling Stones concert. There's a section on numbers, people, words, and another focused on the Akuma-kun series, mentioning characters like Hayakuma-kun and Mephisto 2, discussing merchandise and theme songs, with input from Jun Miura and Katsuyuki Sato. A column titled "Seeking People" appears to be a call for contributors. Another segment details a reader participation game called Iroha Karuta, a postcard-based communication game featuring art by Jun Miura and writing by Katsuyuki Sato and Kawaguchi. At the bottom, a large photo shows Jun Miura getting makeup done for a late-night TV appearance where he focused on Ikeda Takakio and was joined by editor-in-chief Kawaguchi and Katsuyuki Sato. The overall tone is informal and conversational, blending news, entertainment, and reader interaction. This page commemorates the Rolling Stones' visit to Japan with a special giveaway of original merchandise. The text on the right draws an interesting parallel between the evolution and impact of rock music, personified by the Rolling Stones, and the rise of computer games. It reflects on how both faced challenges and grew into mainstream popular culture, noting the Stones' influence and their 1990 Tokyo Dome concert. Readers had a chance to win various Rolling Stones items. The prizes included a Tokyo 1990 themed t-shirt, pamphlets from the Steel Wheels Japan Tour 1990, telephone cards featuring the iconic tongue logo, and Hot Lips badges. To enter, participants needed to send a postcard with their details and reason for wanting the goods to the magazine's BeepMD editorial department by the March 15th deadline. Winners would be notified by receiving their prizes directly. It's cool to see a gaming magazine connect with a major cultural event like this, highlighting the growing significance of both rock and video games at the time. This page presents the Hot-Blooded Mega Drive Declaration, 1990 edition, Part 2, a segment from a popular ongoing series in the magazine. It features 3 determined individuals, perhaps developers or publishers, geared up in boxing gloves, ready to fight for the system's success. The core message here is a rallying cry for the Mega Drive and its supporters. It acknowledges that while the overall game industry might be a bit flat, the Mega Drive is coming out swinging with strong momentum. The text praises the expanding library of software, noting improvements in quantity, variety, and quality, and even anticipates new developers joining the charge this spring. The declaration urges everyone involved not to get complacent, but to recognize the challenges facing the entire industry and aim squarely for the top spot, pushing forward with refined strategies. The bottom section lists some of the key players who have already committed to this hot-blooded stance, including iconic developers like Technosoft, Sunsoft, Asmik, Messiah, NCS, Micronet, Hot B, and Taito, alongside others like Sigma Shoji. It's a powerful statement of intent, showing the passion behind the Mega Drive's push for dominance in 1990. Arcade game developer Toaplan, famous for its difficult shooting games, is entering the Sega Mega Drive scene. After successfully porting their arcade hit Truxton to the system, they're now planning to release 2 original titles in 1990, with their first game targeted for autumn. Though speculation pointed towards Hellfire, Toaplan confirmed it would be at least Hellfire. Toaplan expressed a desire to expand beyond just challenging shooting games, aiming for a fresh approach. They aim to move past simply iterating on previous formulas. The article features photos of the team and screenshots, including Truxton and the PC Engine version of Twin Cobra, hinting at potential future Mega Drive releases. This move signifies another major arcade developer embracing the Mega Drive. The next page features a look at another developer making the jump to the Mega Drive, Wolf Team, alongside a brief company history of arcade giant Toaplan. The Toaplan history charts their key game releases from 1985 to 1989, including classic shooters like Tiger Heli, Flying Shark, Sky Shark, Twin Cobra, Hellfire, Zero Wing, and Fire Shark. Same, showing their strong pedigree in the arcade scene. The main focus is an interview with Wolf Team members, including Managing Director Akishino-san. They discuss their decision to enter the Mega Drive market, noting the console's large cartridge capacity as a major draw for creating amazing games, not just competent ones. While they acknowledge graphical limitations compared to other platforms, particularly in color and scroll layers, they express confidence in their ability to utilize the hardware effectively. They also touch on considering the user base and their past experience with PC development, aiding in porting arcade titles. This page highlights the excitement and challenges developers faced when bringing their unique visions to Sega's powerful console. This page continues the look at Wolf Team, focusing on an interview about their move to the Mega Drive and a history of the company. Wolf Team members discuss the technical challenges and opportunities of developing for the Mega Drive, noting the difficulty with the console's color palette and scrolling capabilities compared to SiAx, but praising the large cartridge size for enabling bigger, more impressive games. Their first Mega Drive title is planned to be a port of Final Zone 2, which they state will be significantly different and more action-focused than the PC version, even suggesting the title might change. They outline future plans including a shooting game for the X68000 in April, which they hope to port to the Mega Drive, and potentially bringing their signature SLG and RPG titles, or entirely new original games, to the console later. They mention currently having a small development team for Mega Drive games but plan to expand. The interview touches on catering to the adult user base and the demand for home versions of arcade games. The page also includes a brief history of Wolf Team, listing key releases like the action game Yakuza in 1987, and RPGS Arcus 1988, and Arcus 2 1989. Screenshots from Yakuza and likely Arcus 2 are shown,
representing their early work. They conclude by aiming to be number one, urging users to look forward to their summer release. This page presents a look at several other computer-focused magazines published by SoftBank, separate from the gaming content usually found here. It showcases Pasicon magazine, highlighting PC lab tests, reviews of notebook computers, spreadsheet and word processing software, and new hardware releases. Next is PC, which covers the latest PC98 word processors, batch file utilization, and hard drive information for power users. FM, focusing on the Fujitsu Town's computer with articles on applications, programming, and even game compilations like Mistily and Burlesque. The page also features Information Processing Exam, a magazine dedicated to preparing for the National Information Processing Exams, covering various topics like computer graphics, programming, and fundamental hardware and software knowledge. Following that is The Computer, a magazine discussing graphics, Windows, the PC9801N, international reports, Unix, and computer networks. Finally, Magazine is featured, focusing on operating systems like OS/2 and extensive coverage of C and C++ programming languages, compilers, and courses. Overall, this page provides a snapshot of SoftBank's diverse portfolio of technology publications beyond gaming. This page is the big announcement everyone was waiting for. It reveals the results of the B-Mega Super Ultra Quiz featured in the February 8th issue. The response was massive, with nearly 4,000 entries received, and the editorial team clearly put in a ton of work sifting through them all to pick the 300 winners. The page details the correct answers for the quiz across different sections. There's a basic questions section, and then 3 selection courses. Course A, aiming to be a hardware master, Course B for the ultimate MegaDrive player, and Course C, appropriately titled A Bouquet for B-Mega Addicts. Each course lists its questions and the corresponding correct answers. Notably, there are mentions that some questions had corrected answers, or were counted as correct for everyone due to errors, which is fair play. The page also includes a humorous illustration of an elephant with a boombox and 2 people, with the caption boasting its robustness. It's great to see the results finally published after such a strong turnout. This page presents the complete list of the 300 winners from the major quiz featured previously. The names and locations of the fortunate winners are detailed, categorized by the prizes they have won. Prizes range from gaming peripherals like joysticks and MegaDrive controllers to choices of software and creds, as well as exclusive merchandise including detailed guides, posters, and collectible miniatures. A note at the bottom indicates that delivery of some prizes may be delayed. This page is the 6th installment of the Japan RPG Journey series by Takeo Iijima, this time focusing on Lake Biwa and the legend of the giant catfish. The author recounts a trip to the area, visiting places like the Lake Biwa Culture Center and Museum, seemingly searching for inspiration or connections to the world of RPGs. The essay delves into the idea of the giant catfish as a mythical creature, likening it to the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, and pondering its potential depiction in games. The author muses on how real-world legends and biotechnology could intersect to create compelling game monsters, drawing parallels to classic monster shows like Ultra Q. The concept of the giant catfish's immense size and potential for destruction is explored through the lens of game design and narrative possibilities. Accompanying the text is a large illustration featuring the author's character and another individual observing a massive, imposing, giant catfish monster. A text box labels the creature as the Biwako giant catfish, noting its size exceeds 1 meter, it preys on other fish, and tastes oily and bad. A humorous detail adding character to the monster concept. The overall tone is a blend of travelogue, folklore exploration, and imaginative game design speculation. This page marks the final installment of the Technology Trend Communication column, focusing on the evolving world of still video. The author delves into the technical aspects, explaining that still video is distinct from traditional motion video, as it captures static images, akin to photographs. A key discussion point is the move towards digital recording and disc media. Unlike analog recording on tape, which degrades with copying, digital recording preserves quality perfectly. Using disc media, like the discussed 2-inch floppy disk, offers advantages like random access to images, making editing and viewing more flexible compared to tape's sequential access. The column notes the recent development of adding sound to still video, enhancing its capabilities. The author anticipates the broader digitalization of video technology, suggesting a future where digital video coexists with still video, similar to how 35mm film cameras remain popular alongside video cameras. Finally, the piece announces that this series concludes, with the next column set to explore new electronics, specifically mentioning game machines, signaling a shift in focus towards hardware relevant to us gamers. It's interesting to see these early insights into the transition to digital media and its potential impact, even touching upon future gaming technology. This page features an illustrated column with the title Wahaha, depicting 3 characters who appear to be discussing the gaming landscape. One character wears a headscarf with the kanji, likely representing Nintendo, while the others seem to represent different perspectives on the industry, possibly Sega. The main topic is a critical look at Sega's position and challenges, particularly concerning the Mega Drive compared to Nintendo's Famicom, NES. The column discusses the different types of games prevalent on each console and how they cater to different user bases. It touches upon the market conditions, contrasting the situation in Japan with America. A significant portion is dedicated to frankly discussing Sega's perceived issues and what they need to improve, based on user feedback and the columnist's own observations. It suggests that Sega needs to better understand user needs and leverage its strengths, possibly mentioning games like Outrun as examples of strong Sega titles. The piece emphasizes the importance of listening to the fanbase. This page is the final installment of a column titled TV Game Industry, 3 Kingdoms, by Jam Ojison. The author reflects on the state of the industry, particularly the Mega Drive's progress. He notes the Mega Drive has surpassed 100,000 units sold and is finally entering its prime, with an improving software lineup and increasing third-party support. The author expresses satisfaction that users are finally able to get their hands on good games. He discusses his reasons for starting the column, which included criticizing biased game magazines that he felt were too favorable to Nintendo's Famicom, NES, and the PC Engine, often ignoring or downplaying the Mega Drive. He emphasizes the importance of listening to user feedback and believes companies need to pay more attention to the player's perspective to improve. The illustration depicts 3 figures surrounded by cartridges and money, symbolizing the competing platforms in the industry. This page features a column by Shimazu Yasuhiko titled Sound Club Volume 6, presented under the main title The Sea of Conservative Rock, or the Original Theory of 90s Luxury Linerism. The layout includes the title, author name, volume number, and body text, punctuated by black circles and decorative dashed lines with scissor graphics, suggesting the content could be cut out or is fragmented. The column reflects on the state of music and the feeling of the times in the early 90s. The author discusses a sense of stagnation in music, finding satisfaction in listening to old discs rather than buying new ones. He contrasts this with the accelerating speed of the world due to overwhelming information exchange. He notes that technology, particularly computers, brought about significant changes in music, but suggests that change has now stopped for a while, leading to a conservative or focused approach as a response to the information overload. Using the metaphor of a luxury liner, he describes the current era as one where nothing changes until the next port, but the ship itself provides everything needed, implying there's no need to retreat. The 90s style is presented as a way to navigate this state, perhaps by retreating into personal interests, or simply enjoying the journey through what he calls the decadent sea. There are no game references or screenshots on this page. It is a cultural commentary piece. This page is a review section focusing on hardware and music creds. It features a look at the Dr. Rhythm Drive 550, presented as a great first step into computer music for those interested in Europop or computer sounds but unsure about sequencers. It highlights the unit's 48 types of PCM rhythm sounds, including sampled TR-808 sounds, and its ability to store sequences up to 1280 steps. The review emphasizes its high-cost performance at 32,000 yen, calling it excellent for songwriting and practice. There are reviews for several game music creds. The Game Boy Music CD compiles sounds from titles like Super Mario Land, Alleyway, Golf, and Solar Striker, notably including a rare early version of the Tetris theme. The Game Music Best of the Year 1989 Candelas is a deluxe compilation of music from arcade games, selected by Gamist magazine. The Sol Bianca soundtrack features music from the Sol Bianca OVA, Original video animation. The story is set in the year 2395, following 5 female space pirates aboard the ship Sol Bianca. The review notes the soundtrack includes music from various Sol Bianca media releases and features synthesized sounds. The page also includes the title for a hard review section. This page features the second installment of the Nostalgic Game Graffiti column by Hidenori Takahashi. Picking up from a previous attempt, the author sets out to properly classify nostalgic arcade games. He presents a table of 10 categories, including shooting, metal games, riding/vehicle, character gachapon, sports, and others. The column delves into the first few categories. Shooting games, like the example Flybegun shown, are defined by gameplay involving shooting targets with a gun or rifle, a classic American arcade style. Metal games are discussed next, exemplified by titles such as Piccadilly Circus, which is described as a roulette-like game found in arcades, distinct from casino games. The author expresses a personal fondness for Piccadilly Circus, appreciating its simple design and longevity. The images on the page show 2 different metal game machines, highlighting this category. Finally, riding/vehicle games are split into types, with the core mechanic being the act of riding. Fixed machines like the Kaiju Patrolgo are mentioned as an example. The author intends to use this classification system to document and preserve data on these classic games. This page continues, the Nostalgic Game Graffiti column, classifying more types of classic arcade games. Category 4 is Character Gachapon, vending machines, where the machine itself is shaped like a character, like the Ultraman machine shown. The author mentions these are common at amusement parks and tourist spots, noting the Ultraman image is from Nagata's Gecko Land. Category 5 covers sports games, defined by requiring physical movement, with Kapako, a game involving hitting a ball, featured as an example. Category 6 is the Pachinko type, discussing both modern electric machines and nostalgic manual ones where you hand-flick the balls, which the author prefers for its tactile feel. Drive games are Category 7, similar to shooting games but involving steering a vehicle, exemplified by the MegaDrive game shown. Category 8 is the Corinth type, described as a pre-flipper pinball prototype, with many variations. Category 9 covers games primarily run by a 10-yen coin, like the hop-step jump machine shown, which the author presents as a good example of this simple, coin-driven play. The final category, 10, is for others. The column concludes by soliciting reader input and information on nostalgic games. The Hot Hot Video Club launches with a feature on Brian De Palma, the magician of images. The article explores De Palma's Hitchcockian influence, emphasizing that he expands upon Hitchcock's style, creating his own unique cinematic world. De Palma's signature techniques, such as split-screen perspectives and masterful slow motion, are highlighted. 3 De Palma films are summarized: Phantom of the Paradise, a musical adaptation of Phantom of the Opera; Carrie, based on Stephen King's novel about telekinetic powers; and The Untouchables, a crime drama set in 1934 Chicago, focusing on Elliot Ness's pursuit of Al Capone. The article encourages viewers to explore De Palma's work further. This page features the continuing discussion from the Hot Hot Video Club column, focusing on Brian De Palma's cinematic works in the context of home video releases. The 2 hosts delve into Phantom of the Paradise, highlighting its distinct blend of horror and musical elements, and the effective use of cinematography like slow motion. They then turn to Carrie, praising Sissy Spacek's powerful performance in the title role and the film's shocking impact. While The Untouchables is mentioned, the focus remains on the more genre-specific Phantom and Carrie. Screenshots from these films illustrate the conversations. A separate section announces preview screenings for the anime OVA Sol Bianca. This page features an extra edition of the Hot Hot Club column, titled Takeo Ijima's I Want to Meet This Person. The first guest is Toshio Okada. The page presents a dialogue between Ijima and Okada about movies. Okada states that watching movies in a theater is heresy, and movies belong on TV. He discusses his favorite films, mentioning Jaws as a standout he still watches. They touch upon Kurosawa films like Ran and Kagemusha, though Okada admits he hasn't seen many. They also discuss comedy and cult films, including Kentucky Fried Movie and Eating Raoul. Okada expresses a preference for dubbing over subtitles, finding subtitles inconvenient. The bottom text block describes Okada as someone who can't sit still. The page includes photos of the guest, Toshio Okada, a prominent figure known in the anime and otaku world, adding a personal touch to the discussion about their movie tastes. There are no game screenshots or specific game mentions on this page. This page continues the Hot Hot Club Extra Edition interview with Toshio Okada. The discussion between Takeo Iijima and Okada remains centered on movies. Okada reiterates his view that movies should be watched on TV, preferably dubbed, finding subtitles inconvenient. He contrasts this with the idea of watching films in a cinema, which he calls heresy. They talk about specific films they like or watched growing up. Okada mentions The Mighty Gorgo and Crazy Paradise. Iijima recalls being taken by his parents to see the Conte 55 series. Okada shares a humorous anecdote about his father taking him to see The Killer Shrews after seeing Jaws, which he had enjoyed. They discuss how watching movies as a family can create strong impressions. Okada states he doesn't like low-budget films unless they have a lot of money spent on them. He prefers buying movies on LD if they are expensive productions. He mentions wanting to buy The Great Escape on LD, and that The Blues Brothers is expensive but not available on LD, though he has it on video. The interview concludes by touching on Okada's view that the correct way to watch a film is the edited version with commercials on TV after hearing Mr. Yodogawa's talk, calling it true connoisseurship. The page is primarily text from the interview, accompanied by a photo of Toshio Okada. This page announces Sega's entry into the visual genre with Ultra Q the Movie, Legend of the Stars, presented as part of the Hot 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 Club Extra Edition 2. The movie's tagline speaks of awakening believers, raging divine beasts, and a final choice between space and Earth. Jun Miura, an illustrator, shares his perspective in an essay titled Ultra Q is not nostalgic at all. He sees Ultra Q as fundamental to his life, and views it as having a lasting impact, rather than simply being nostalgic, similar to how he feels about rock music or classical composers. He discusses the nature of the kaiju genre, and highlights what made Ultra Q stand out for him, comparing it to other kaiju films like Matango and Gamera. He looks forward to the new movie. The movie itself is based on the classic 1966 TV series, known for its high viewership. It features an entirely new story, centered around themes of environmental destruction and lessons for humanity. It was released in theaters on April 14th through Shochiku. The page lists key staff, including directors and the writer, and mentions the cast involved. Photos show some of the kaiju featured, such as Gomez and Goga, as well as production staff and cast members, some sporting ultra-blocking glasses. This page features the Tezubo Ringo column, focusing on game software test reviews, accompanied by charming, humorous illustrations. The main section title clearly labels it as Game Soft Test Review. Several games are reviewed here. The reviewer for Golden Axe was thrilled by its announcement, praising the enemy detail, magic, and dragon attacks, considering it a top action game since Ghouls and Ghosts. However, they were disappointed the Mega Drive port wasn't perfect, noting awkward character movement despite a good title screen. Another review covers Forgotten Worlds, also known as Lost World, where the reviewer had low expectations. While graphics were decent like Super Hang-On, they felt the content was average and too easy, especially with the forgiving continue system. The unique action sequences from the arcade were simplified to just jumping. The review for Truxton, Tatsujin, highlights it as a super hard arcade shoot-'em-up that the reviewer invested heavily in. They appreciated the difficulty in graphics, but felt something was missing in the home version, recommending fans wait for Sega's planned summer joystick release. Finally, a review for Vermilion notes. The reviewer finished it quickly. They found the game simple with no complex puzzles, describing the exploration as just wandering dungeons. However, they enjoyed the action in battle scenes and the ease of leveling up. The page includes artwork, specifically showcasing a battle scene from Vermilion, and mentioning the game includes 3D dungeons. This page continues the game reviews and features reader feedback and requests. It includes artwork, showing character portraits labeled Rutger, likely from Revenge of Shinobi, and Vermilion. Reader feedback covers various titles. For Vermilion, opinions are mixed, noting the developer's intent to make it accessible. Sound is a key topic. Comments mention the sound quality in Revenge of Shinobi and Truxton, particularly specific tracks, and point out issues like fast rhythm and explosive sounds in Truxton's port. Simulation game fans express a desire for more strategy titles like Pearl Harbor Attack and Battle of Midway, with improved scenarios. There's strong support for a re-release of the Master System's Phantasy Star with a reader criticizing the system of Phantasy Star II, but still finding it engaging. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is discussed with anticipation for its music, and there's a request for a better Space Harrier port, with specific technical improvements like larger enemy sprites and improved shadows and perspective. Finally, readers urge Sega to announce more third-party developers for the Mega Drive. The page also features a humorous illustration unrelated to the main reviews. This page features reader feedback and corrections. The main section, MegaDrive Bin Bin Talk, includes comments on various topics. One reader questions a photograph related to Phantasy Star II, finding it odd that Neolai appears alongside Eugresis when she should be deceased at that point, describing it as a spirit photograph. Another humorous piece recounts a teacher mistakenly saying they would study love triangles instead of geometry. There are also discussions comparing the Sega Mega Drive to the Famicom, with one reader noting that while their children play Famicom, they have graduated to the superior Mega Drive, praising its graphics, sound, speed, and capacity. The text also includes reader names and ages like those from Tokyo, Miyagi, and Aichi. The page is illustrated with sketches including a scene labeled 90s Third Grade Strategy, showcasing military vehicles, implying discussion or anticipation for strategic games. There's also an illustration of the Atari Lynx handheld console and a depiction of characters from the YS series, Adal, Fina, Lilia, Elena, with text suggesting YS is possible on the Mega Drive. Finally, a section titled February Special Winter Issue Apologies lists corrections from a previous issue, including details about game information and release dates. It corrects details about enemies in Phantasy Star II, Barthans and Dogurava, mentions a game titled Shinsaku Tete Master, and provides release dates for Air Diver, March 9th, and Afterburner 2, March 20th. This page features reader contributions, showcasing prize winners, game-related artwork, and outlines upcoming submission corners. It begins by listing winners for presents from the February issue, including games like Phantasy Star II, Shadow Dancer, and The Revenge of Shinobi, along with various calendars. A quiz section asks, who is the real Yoko Chankun from Joy Joy Telephone? Revealing the correct answer is option 2. The page is adorned with fantastic fan illustrations. One piece depicts characters from Emerald Dragon, alongside a passionate plea for a Mega Drive port, specifically requesting a 2-disc version for the system's FDD rather than a room cartridge. Another illustration shows the protagonist from Shadow Dancer. The final illustration features characters from The Revenge of Shinobi, accompanied by enthusiastic feedback praising its graphics, sound, smooth character movement, and overall excellence, calling it super recommended. Looking ahead, the page details the reader submission corners for the April issue, including sections for game impressions, opinions on the game industry, and reader illustrations. It notes that submissions should be sent via postcard and include necessary personal information. Get ready for new reader participation in the May issue, available April 7th. Mega Drive Expert Course offers Q&A about any Mega Drive game. Submit questions via postcard. Mega Drive Cheat League calls for cheat codes and hidden techniques, with rewards for the best submissions. Send your cheats and contact details to the Tokyo address. As a preview, a mini Q&A on the RPG Vermilion is provided. Learn how to find the passage permit and the powerful sword of Vermilion. The page also showcases fan art of Golden Axe, Blade, and Chibi magazine staff with the Sega logo. This page features exciting reader participation opportunities and upcoming event information. First up, there are Dragon Quest item giveaways. You can potentially win the manga adaptation detailing the making of Dragon Quest IV, supervised by Shotaro Ishinomori, or the third novel in the Dragon Quest series, Legend of the Spirit Rubus. Next, Softel is giving away 100 original phone cards featuring the artwork from their upcoming Famicom port of the PC action game, Titan. This game, originally from 1988 Europe/America, is a real-time action title combining block-breaking, puzzles, and labyrinths, and the Famicom version is slated for an August release. Apply by postcard by April 30th. Finally, mark your calendars for the Falcom Festival 90 on March 26th in Shinjuku. This event includes the final selection for the Miss Lilith Grand Prix, a special live performance by the JDK band playing game music, and a special preview screening of the YS original video animation based on the popular RPG series. There will also be plenty of prizes and exciting games on display. This page dives into the world of handheld gaming, with new titles for the Game Vision, which you'll know as the Game Gear. While the Mega Drive dominates, the article suggests these smaller games shouldn't be overlooked, highlighting the excellent Shinobi port, and looking forward to upcoming releases like the intense vertical shooter Heavy Barrel, plus new sports titles such as baseball and soccer, and the action-packed Skate Shoot. The page also features a look at the Q Gatai Petamo line, showing off a specific toy character, Sigma, hinting at tie-ins possibly extending beyond toys. Moving to multimedia, the Sol Bianca original video animation series is expanding its reach with a variety of merchandise. You'll find video releases in multiple formats, soundtrack CDs, a PC Engine CD-ROM game adaptation, novels, game books, and visual books, offering a comprehensive experience for fans. Finally, the game music label Cytron is making moves this spring. They're establishing an online presence or service called FMPNet Game Music Factory, and seem to be promoting easy access to their extensive catalog of game music CDs, videos, and LPS, even offering a special bonus can case for purchasers. This page presents the B-Mega Dataland section, featuring game rankings. First, we have the Mega Drive Software Sales Best 5. Topping the charts is Golden Axe, praised as a big hit with flashy production. Moving up is Truxton, identified as a difficult arcade port but noted for including an easier mode. Holding strong is The Revenge of Shinobi, an upgraded sequel highly rated for its graphics and sound. Voxel is highlighted as noteworthy, featuring 250 levels from the original, and including an edit mode. Finally, Vermilion is shown with a drop in rank, described as a different kind of RPG, where progression feels satisfying. Below that is the popular video game, Arcade, Best 5. The top arcade titles include the racing game's Winning Run and Super Monaco GP, with anticipation building for the latter's potential Mega Drive port. Sega's version of Tetris is still a major arcade draw, sparking hopes for a swift Mega Drive release. Capcom's fighting hit Final Fight is also popular, though its future on the Genesis is uncertain. Rounding out the list is Taito's driving game Psy, known internationally as Chase H.Q2. This page dives into what readers are excited about for the Genesis. First up is the ranking of the most anticipated new games, topped by the upcoming Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom, followed by the arcade hit Afterburner 2 and the thrilling shooter Thunder Force 2-1. Other highly anticipated titles include Super Monaco GP and Air Diver. Next, there's a comprehensive schedule of upcoming Genesis software releases, listing numerous titles slated from March onwards, detailing their genres, publishers, and prices. This section provides a glimpse into the busy release pipeline. Below that, readers weigh in on which arcade games they most want to see ported to the Genesis. Leading the charge are Konami's legendary shoot-'em-up Gradius 2 I and Irem's challenging Rai Type 2. Other popular requests include Namco's The Legend of Valkyrie and Konami's earlier Gradius games, plus Capcom's Final Fight and Sega's arcade Tetris. Finally, a brief commentary highlights some noteworthy upcoming releases. It points out that several interesting new additions to the schedule are Sega originals. Specifically, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is mentioned as being remarkably true to the star, likely due to his direct involvement. The tentatively titled Sangokushi game from Sega is also noted as a surprising original title rather than a port. The writer also expresses anticipation for two upcoming shoot-'em-ups in April and May, suggesting they are above average in quality. A survey of 100 Mega Drive users reveals their gaming and entertainment preferences. In terms of purchased games, Phantasy Star II leads the pack, followed by strategy games Super Daisen Ryaku, The Super Shinobi, and Ghouls and Ghosts. Favorite bands include the SST Band, TM Network, and Princess. The top crids are Mega Selection and Supersonic Team. Software makers also shared announcements. Sega previews Darwin 4081 and Phantasy Star II. Sunsoft details Telephone Series, a Mahjong game, Stadium, and Batman. Taito promotes their boxing game, Final Blow. Tecmo plans to release Atomic Robo Kid and other action games. Namco sends a message tied to Beep Magazine, and Micronet hints at two upcoming, unspecified titles. This page presents the fourth chapter of an SF fantasy novel titled Continuing the Dream by Raichi Seta. The narrative follows a character named Satoru, dealing with the aftermath of his father's death and interacting with a powerful information system called Mother. Satoru has been working on biosimulation software,
specifically involving pterodactyls. The story describes his efforts to uncover the truth about his father through the mother system, which seems to control all information. The text transitions into a vivid dreamlike sequence, potentially within the simulation, where Satoru experiences an ancient Earth populated by pterodactyls and strange creatures. The illustration on the page depicts a large, dragon-like winged creature flying above a prehistoric landscape, likely representing the scene from Satoru's dream, or the simulation he is creating. The story questions the reliability of the information provided by Mother regarding his father's death, and hints at a deeper mystery involving his mother's whereabouts. This page features an advertisement for the KICO45DX control box, allowing players to enjoy arcade-style TV games with immersive feeling on their home monitors. The large headline exclaims, "When you stand in front of this machine, your fingers naturally start moving." The illustration depicts excited people gathered around screens, reinforcing the joy of playing. A photo shows the white control box with a joystick and buttons. The ad highlights that KIC offers a wide selection of game boards, from the latest models to super cheap used ones, as well as various parts. They also introduce the KICO 4590 summer model, packed with features including auto trigger, stereo sound, color adjustment, and power self-check functions. The company KIC is positioned as the best partner for gamers. Details for ordering, business hours, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. open daily, and a map to their showroom in Tokyo, near Gotanda and Takanawadai stations, are provided. The overall message is about bringing the arcade experience home with quality control hardware and game boards. This page features a fascinating look into the minds of BeepMD readers back in 1990, presenting a maker image white paper based on a survey of 500 readers. The main focus is on how gamers perceive the companies creating their beloved software. The survey first asks if readers consider the maker when buying game software, revealing that a significant 77% said they do. This indicates that brand recognition and the reputation of the developer/publisher were becoming increasingly important factors in purchasing decisions at the time, a clear shift towards brand consciousness in the market. The article then delves into specific perceptions, asking readers to identify makers they felt were popular, mainstream, and use-oriented for the Mega Drive, Famicom, NES, and PC Engine, TurboGrafx-16 platforms. The charts display results showing which companies were seen as approachable and friendly, or genuinely thinking about the player when developing software. For instance, on the Mega Drive, Sega scored highly in both categories, reflecting their strong platform identity. Across platforms, companies like Nintendo, Famicom, Hudson, PC Engine, Namco, and Konami also show varying degrees of strength in these perceived qualities, offering a snapshot of their public image during this era. It's a great historical document showing that brand perception was a key element for gamers even then. This page continues the survey on reader perceptions of game makers, focusing on various company attributes. The charts illustrate how readers felt about developers and publishers across the Mega Drive, Famicom, NES, and PC Engine, TurboGrafx-16 platforms. The survey explored perceptions such as being strategic, having a long-term vision, intellectual, bold or daring in their approach, trendy, focused on popular culture, ambitious, innovative, having good sense, vaguely appealing, being modest or conservative, and being average, neither good nor bad, potentially reliable. Results show how different companies were viewed through these lenses. Sega frequently scores high on the Mega Drive charts, in categories like strategic, bold, ambitious, and having good sense, reinforcing their strong platform identity. Companies like Nintendo, Famicom, Hudson, PC Engine, Namco, Konami, and others also appear, showcasing diverse images across platforms and categories. Notably, the survey highlights that perceptions like modest or average weren't necessarily seen as negative, suggesting a nuanced view of the market. This provides a fascinating snapshot of how game company branding and style were perceived by consumers in the early 90s. This page concludes the Maker Image Survey by comparing game developers to different types of restaurants, based on reader votes and perceptions. Illustrated with charming drawings of various dishes, the page dives into how fans viewed companies through a culinary lens. The categories range from family restaurants seen as popular and offering variety with companies like Sega and Namco leading, to more specialized places like French restaurants, associated with luxury and dignity by Sega and Namco fans,
or steakhouses where Technosoft was perceived for high-quality, complete games. Japanese kaiseki evoked quiet taste, while yakiniku, led by Sega, was seen as very popular but sometimes challenging. Chinese restaurants suggested variety and distinct flavors, with Sega offering many dishes and toy plans standing out for taste. Finally, the curry restaurant category highlighted spiciness and difficulty, dominated by Toei Plan and Technosoft. The reader comments offer fascinating insights, such as Namco being linked to cute characters, Sega to versatility, Technosoft to high difficulty, and Taito to luxury, or putting out diverse things. It's a unique way to gauge public opinion on game company brands at the time. This page continues the reader's survey, comparing game developers to different types of restaurants based on fan perceptions and votes. Illustrated with charming drawings of various dishes, this section delves into how fans viewed companies through this unique culinary lens. Categories covered include ramen, where Sega led, seen as affordable and accessible, while Technosoft was perceived as deep. For sushi, Dempa Shinbunsha topped the list, associated with good game concepts and delivery services, with Namco noted as very delicious. Tonkatsu saw Asmik taking the lead, described as seeming tasty, while Hot B was called rich. Gyudon impressions linked to DA to diversified business, like a major chain in Sega, to being easily accessible anytime. In the okonomiyaki and takoyaki section, Sunsoft was associated with games where things drop, and Asmik with being easily accessible. The hamburger shop category had Sega leading, known for releasing lots of software, and Taito for games that look similar but are distinct. Udon/soba included Sega as being consumed unconsciously, and Namco as not sticking to the throat. Finally, the set meal category, topped by Sega, noted the company for putting out a wide variety of things, Taito as being ordinary, Toei Plan's arcade centers feeling like set meal shops, and Namco possibly being a bit cold. These comments offer a fascinating glimpse into fan opinions on game companies at the time. This page features an experience report for the Sega Mega Drive game Telephone Mahjong, highlighting its unique online play capabilities using the Mega Modem. The report explains that all communication for playing the game is handled through the modem, negating the need for a separate phone call while playing. The game flow is detailed through various screenshots, showing the initial telephone dialing screen, the menu for connecting or setting up the game, and the settings screen, where players can adjust options like BGM, sound effects, and modem volume. Gameplay is then shown on the Mahjong table itself. The reviewer notes that the online communication Mahjong software is finally complete, and they challenged this game specifically as a communication title. Their impression is that the reaction speed is quick, and playing via the phone line in telephone mode feels almost identical in speed to playing against the computer, which is described as surprisingly well done. The report emphasizes the quality and speed of the online experience offered by Telephone Mahjong from Sunsoft. This page continues the experience report for Telephone Mahjong, detailing the gameplay and unique features. The reviewer praises the game's smoothness, noting its heritage from Mahjong Goku, and highlights the fast reaction time and clear visuals, making it enjoyable even against the computer or in 4-player online matches. A key feature is the conversation mode, enabled by the Mega Modem's mic and speaker, allowing players to talk during their turn or after a match, adding a social dimension akin to real-life Mahjong banter. While the online play is fun, the report acknowledges the challenge of finding opponents. However, the robust single-player ranked match mode is highly recommended as a strong alternative, making the game worthwhile even without regular online partners. The review also touches upon challenges, specifically mentioning difficulties with game start timing in online play, where even a slight delay between players pressing start can cause errors. Despite these minor hiccups, the overall impression is positive, showcasing the game's potential as a unique online Mahjong experience for the Mega Drive. This page features a deep dive into the classic action RPG Sorcerian. Having recently launched, the magazine pulls back the curtain on previously secret aspects of the game, specifically focusing on map layouts, magic creation, and the intricate system of combining herbs. The Great Map Reveal section continues the walkthrough, picking up from Scenario 5, as Scenarios 1 through 4 were covered in prior issues. It notes the game's general difficulty, particularly the trampladen dungeons, which many players find challenging. Complementing the map guide is the Magic and Herbs section, which finally divulges the secrets behind crafting magic, often involving star combinations, and mixing herbs for various effects. A detailed medical herb list table is presented, illustrating which specific herbs, represented by colored dots, are required to synthesize different medicinal items and offensive/defensive concoctions, along with a summary of their effects, from healing and curing status ailments to offensive spells and defensive buffs. The article emphasizes that while these recipes are revealed, successfully casting spells still depends on having enough MP, gained by leveling up. The overview clearly demonstrates the complex item synthesis system crucial to mastering the game. This page offers an in-depth look at the magic system in Sorcerians, detailing many of the spells available to players. It features extensive lists of spells, categorized by type such as healing, defense, attack, and other. Each spell includes its MP cost and a description of its effect. Significantly, the first part of the magic list reveals the previously secret star combinations needed to create some of these spells, indicating which celestial bodies and how many of each are required for synthesis. A key explains how to interpret the table, noting the colored categories and the symbols for star counts. The feature highlights that even with these details revealed, the exact order of combining stars is left for the player to discover, and the article concludes by stating, this is still only a partial list of all the magic in the game. This page presents a guide to several key scenarios available in the game Sorcerian. It features 4 distinct quests, detailing their premises and objectives, offering players a glimpse into the adventures awaiting them. The scenarios covered are the Level 1 Grey Dungeon, where the goal is to seal a monster-infested labyrinth, the Level 1 Village of Eternal Spring, requiring players to protect a goddess statue from a dragon, the Level 1 Waterfall of the Sky, which continues a previous story arc involving trolls and a quest for gold needed for a wedding, and the Level 2 Chinese medicine scenario, a search for an immortality elixir that involves obtaining a celestial maiden's feather robe. Each section provides a concise summary of the scenario's setup and the main task. The page is enriched with multiple screenshots showing gameplay moments from these quests, illustrating character interactions, environments, and obstacles. Additionally, helpful hints are included for each scenario, guiding players on how to progress or overcome specific challenges, such as collecting necessary items or understanding puzzle elements. This layout serves as a helpful preview and resource for tackling these specific adventures within Sorcerian. This page delves into the 5th scenario of Sorcerian, titled Altar of Petos, a Level 2 adventure. The quest begins with the King of Pentar, afflicted by a terrible illness, and only the mythical child's fruit can save him. Players must venture into the Altar of Petos to find this cure. The scenario features a perplexing mystery. Within the frozen shrine, a lake inexplicably remains unfrozen. Understanding why this water doesn't freeze is vital for progression. The key lies ahead in an unopenable treasure chest. This chest requires a special item, the red emblem, to be unlocked, revealing the crucial Seed of Flame. This Seed of Flame is the player's tool for navigating the frozen environment. It can be used to melt ice, including a large frozen lake blocking the path to the traveler's relics, which itself hides a significant passage. It also opens locked doors that impede progress. The guide stresses the importance of mastering the relationship between the ice, the chest, and the Seed of Flame, and advises players to retrieve the seed before leaving the area after completing the task. The page includes several screenshots illustrating the icy caverns, key chests, and doors, along with a charming illustration of characters working together to find the hidden passage under the ice. The next page continues the guide for Sorcerian's 5th scenario, Altar of Petos. Having retrieved the golden wine at the altar, which is only an intermediate point, the focus now shifts to finding the child's fruit. The guide mentions searching for the child's tree, noting that the cold makes progress difficult at one point. It seems you encounter an impassable area due to the harsh environment. Further into the scenario, labeled Final Goal, the guide emphasizes the difficulty of this 5th level, stating that normal difficulty doesn't apply here. It laments the lack of help from the usual hint givers and the possibility of getting lost, unable to return to town. The text warns that the final boss appears abruptly and the struggle continues. Finally, the page presents Great Boss, Dragon. It announces the appearance of the Great Boss, a sleeping dragon. The text humorously explains that the dragon was just taking a nap in a certain room, but was woken up by the Sorcerian party, for some reason, which is why it's now awake. The screenshots depict the journey through icy caverns, finding items, navigating ledges, and finally, a large screenshot shows the blue dragon in battle against the player characters. In Sorcerian's The Wizard's Apprentice scenario, monsters attack a magic school, forcing students to flee. The player must investigate the invasion's cause and restore peace. The adventure begins with exploring the school and gathering clues. Key characters include the principal and the helpful janitor, who controls access to important items and areas. The investigation leads to uncovering a bullying incident involving Maruku and Toto. Toto's friend, Owen, joins the party, adding magic abilities. The school layout is detailed, with classrooms, a library, and dorms accessible with keys from the janitor. Monsters appear after a specific event, posing a significant challenge. This page continues the guide for the Sorcerian scenario, The Wizard's Apprentice, detailing the investigation and climax within the magic school. The journey progresses from navigating trapped areas like the material room to searching Toto's room, where breaking open a locked drawer yields important clues like a diary. As the player gathers evidence, the school becomes increasingly overrun with monsters, including familiar foes and new threats like the huge rat and Mattis slime. The plot thickens upon finding Maruku deceased in the library. The trail leads back to Toto's room, revealing a hidden passage under his bed connecting to the material room, strongly implicating him in the monster summoning. The narrative culminates in a confrontation where Toto is found with Owen and a rampaging monster. Despite his apparent involvement, Toto shows protectiveness towards Ukensian, suggesting the summoned monster may be out of his control. This encounter leads to the final boss battle against a grotesque creature whose head detaches to attack. The page wraps up the core sequence of events, leading to the scenario's conclusion. Scenario 7 of Sorcerian, Twin Islands, Level 4, unfolds on Inhoa and Autumn, once friendly islands now at odds. The island's conflict stems from the cessation of the fairies' harp song, vital to their prosperity. Inhoa, a farming island, blames Autumn, citing crop failures and a suspicious departing ship. Autumn, reliant on fishing, accuses Inhoa, pointing to ruined fishing grounds and a stone-throwing incident. The page highlights the islanders' emotional state, rendering rational discussion impossible. The core mystery revolves around whether the ship-fleeing individual and the stone-thrower are the same. The scenario escalates, culminating in the bridge's destruction and the player character being swept out to sea by a strong wind. The provided content covers the conflict, conflicting testimonies, and the player's dramatic experience, accompanied by screenshots illustrating the narrative. This page continues the Sorcerian scenario. Picking up after being swept out to sea, you are rescued by a mermaid named Tiki, who reveals her sister is missing near the fairy's harp, leading you to agree to help. The journey to the harp is challenging. Upon reaching the entrance to the harp's shell, you are repelled by a powerful force, preventing immediate entry. Discovering flint and tinder along with driftwood on the shore, the plan shifts to a smoke 'em out strategy. The search for the sister leads into a cave system shown across several screenshots. Inside, you confront a boss character, identified as the likely culprit behind the troubles. The boss fight is described as chaotic and brute force based. After defeating the boss, you find the mermaid princess chained to a sturdy coral pillar in an underground tank. Attempts to break the coral are unsuccessful, indicating a need for a different approach, leading to a temporary retreat. The page highlights the mystery surrounding the unbreakable coral pillars found throughout the cave, and even poses a quirky question about the composition of the mermaid princess's tail. The next page continues the epic journey in Sorcerian, detailing upcoming quests. First up is Scenario 8, Marionette Mansion, a Level 4 adventure set in the town of Papet. You're tasked with finding a lost doll for a crying girl, which unexpectedly leads you into Count Dare's mansion, a confusing forest, imprisonment, and ultimately the mysterious Dolls Country, where a conflict between humans and dolls is brewing. This quest involves uncovering secrets and gathering items to progress, taking some surprising detours along the way, including a brief stop in what appears to be a land of giants. Then comes Scenario 9, Targeted Village, a Level 5 scenario dealing with the strange disappearances of young women in Shinoa Village, attributed to a local legend. Investigating this village uncovers a dark past, tied to a cult and ancient sacrifices. You must solve the mystery behind the disappearances. Despite the villagers' initial reluctance to help, the page concludes by introducing Scenario 10, the ultimate challenge available only after clearing all previous quests. It promises a dramatic conclusion to the story, hinting at the repercussions of events in Scenario 9, and leaving the player to discover the final fate of the Sorcerian characters. The screenshots depict the town, forest, prison cell, and the seemingly unwelcoming Shinoa village, giving a glimpse into the diverse environments and challenges awaiting you. This page dives into Telephone Stadium, a baseball game from Sunsoft, set for a July release. This entry, titled Thorough Master of Hot Topic New Work Part 4, focuses heavily on the game's online communication features, which are the main selling point. The reviewer recounts their experience testing the modem functionality, noting the connection process is a bit cumbersome, but playing against others is highly enjoyable once connected. They mention this feature was previously only tested with a Mahjong title, but is now being put through its paces with Telephone Stadium. The page also introduces various players featured in the game, providing brief descriptions of their key attributes and strengths, acting as a scouting report for potential managers. A screenshot shows the game's perspective during a pitch. Finally, the page prepares the reader for upcoming detailed player data, explaining how to interpret the statistics tables that will appear on subsequent pages for both pitchers and fielders. This page delivers the promised detailed player data for Telephone Stadium, acting as an essential scouting guide for managers. Presented here are the full rosters and statistics for 3 of the game's teams: the Galliots, Cavs, and Drastics. Each team section provides a breakdown of every player, listing their jersey number, name, pitching or batting style, and key performance metrics. These tables are packed with information covering everything from annual salary and basic stats like ERA and batting average to specific attributes like stamina, power, speed, and defensive skills, allowing players to meticulously analyze strengths and weaknesses. This deep dive into the numbers is crucial for anyone looking to build a winning strategy and make informed decisions when assembling their team in the game's online and offline modes. This page continues the in-depth scouting report for Telephone Stadium, presenting the complete player rosters and detailed statistics for 3 more teams: the Spirals, Triggers, and Wiles. Like the previous page, this provides managers with comprehensive data for each player, covering everything from basic performance like batting average and ERA, to specific attributes crucial for strategy, including stamina, power, speed, fielding, and defensive skills. These extensive tables allow players to analyze the strengths and weaknesses of every individual on these teams, essential information for building a competitive roster and planning tactics in the game. This page continues the in-depth scouting report for Telephone Stadium, providing complete player rosters and detailed statistics for the Buckles, Brinks, and Lilacs teams. This page continues the in-depth scouting report for the game Telephone Stadium, presenting detailed information for 3 more teams: the Hopes, Futures, and Options. For each team, the page provides their overall season record, showing wins, losses, and draws. More importantly, it features complete player rosters with extensive statistics. For every player listed, you'll find their position, name, pitching or batting style, annual salary, and a wealth of performance data covering everything from earned run average and wins for pitchers to batting average, home runs, and stolen bases for position players. The page also includes numerical ratings for various crucial player abilities such as stamina, hitting power, eyesight, technique, running speed, fielding skill, and arm strength. This comprehensive breakdown is essential for players wanting to deeply understand each team's composition, strengths, and weaknesses, allowing for informed strategy and roster management. This page is part 4 of a series focusing on understanding hot new software, and this entry is dedicated to the highly anticipated Phantasy Star IV, Generations of Doom. Following the critically acclaimed Phantasy Star and Phantasy Star II, this new installment introduces significant changes. While the detailed 3D dungeons of PS2 are gone, the multi-scrolling dungeons still offer depth. The article highlights the revolutionary multi-generational story system, where the narrative spans 3 generations, leading to branching paths and up to 4 different endings depending on the player's choices, specifically relating to the main character Cain and his descendants. The party size is also expanded to 5 members. Furthermore, the music dynamically changes based on the player's status, even during battles, enhancing the immersion. Two screenshots are shown, one from the original Phantasy Star illustrating its 3D dungeon and battle interface, and another from Phantasy Star II showcasing a battle scene with the player party facing robotic enemies.
The article expresses excitement for the game's late April release. This page delves into the basic system changes and prologue of Phantasy Star II-1, Generations of Doom. It highlights how the game updates the core RPG formula, allowing for more detailed control over party actions and combat beyond simple automatic battles. A key innovation is the ability to customize character traits at a master's shop in town by paying money, tailoring party members to roles like healers or attackers. The prologue sets the stage 1,000 years after a high-tech civilization fell, due to a conflict between the mysterious Lagia and the hero Orakio, both ultimately perishing. This event regressed the world to a medieval state, leaving behind only ruins of the past. The current world is populated by two peoples, descendants of Lagia and Orakio. The long story begins when a girl with lost memories, Marina, washes ashore near the town of Reek, inhabited by Orakio's people, and is found by Prince Kane, who decides to marry her. Screenshots depict battle scenes, both in a cave and on a field, showing the character sprites and battle interface. Another image shows Marina on the beach, where the adventure starts. The page also includes a table detailing various character techniques, categorized by their functions such as attack, balance, rest, and time-based effects, showing the range of abilities characters can use. This page reveals the town of Reek in Phantasy Star II, showcasing an overhead view of the village with its various shops and inhabitants. The image displays the typical town layout found in the game, featuring key locations marked by signs on the buildings. The text describes these essential services available to the player. There's the armor shop and weapon shop, providing equipment necessary for survival, though it suggested prioritizing weapons early on in this game. The inn offers rest to recover strength and techniques, and importantly, serves as the save point, with a nostalgic mention of the original Phantasy Star's Bad Dream saving feature. The item shop stocks vital goods like monomates for healing and anti-poison, with inventory varying between locations. Characters can also visit the church to revive fallen comrades and cure ailments like poison. A unique service is the fortune teller, who provides prophecies that are notably delivered through song in this installment. Finally, the Master's Shop, linked to the system discussed on the previous page, allows players to modify character technique traits, a key customization option, though it's only useful for characters who can actually use techniques. Overall, the page provides a helpful guide to navigating the essential services within the towns of Phantasy Star II. The next page delves into the game flow of Phantasy Star II, picking up the story after the previous page's town feature. It highlights the dramatic start, where the protagonist, Rolf, witnesses the kidnapping of Niai by the Layan tribe right before their wedding. Screenshots depict Rolf's imprisonment and his escape with the help of Rika. The text explains how players will escape the dungeon, gather equipment in towns like Reek, Oputa, and Paseo, and explore the outside world to gain information and pursue the Layans, eventually encountering a character said to have cornered them. On the right side, the page introduces some of the monsters players will encounter, showcasing images and names for creatures such as Scorp, Cameleo, Siren, Wyvern, and the Cyberwolf. The feature concludes by stating that a more detailed breakdown will continue in the following issue. The next page dives into a report on the AOU show held on February 27th and 28th, highlighting games exhibited by various manufacturers. The show brought together 41 game companies, with Sponk's Neo Geo drawing significant attention, while Taito and Konami also had a strong presence. The report details several games shown. Taito exhibited 4 titles, including WGP, a popular and realistic motorcycle racing game featuring a gas pedal. They also showcased Kadash, a beautiful fantasy action game where players advance using a sword, featuring immersive characters that expand the game's world. A character-based quiz game, Taito Quiz Zesho Monogatari, covers various genres and adapts questions by region. Additionally, the boxing game Ashita no Jo was present, noted for its realistic depiction, and 6 stages. Data East featured 2 Crude Dudes, a horizontal scrolling action game where players can use almost anything in the environment, including the background, as a weapon against enemies. The classic puzzle game Boulder Dash was also shown, described as a revival of an old PC hit,
where players collect diamonds while avoiding obstacles. A Famicom version of Boulder Dash is mentioned as having recently been released. The page includes screenshots for all the games discussed, illustrating their gameplay styles and graphics. A list of AOU show exhibitors is also provided, including companies like Taito, Data East, Konami, Capcom, SNK, Namco, and Sega. The AOU show revealed a vibrant arcade scene, with exciting new titles from Toaplan, Konami, and Capcom. Toaplan's Outzone, a vertical action shooter, impressed with its intense action and challenging difficulty. Yukita Man offered a unique shooter experience by letting players turn enemies into snowballs. Konami, dubbed the Shooting Kingdom, showcased the arcade adaptation of Aliens, bringing the film's terror to life. Lightning Fighters, Tragon, introduced a novel A-controlled laser weapon. Parodius, a humorous Gradius spin-off, promised laughs. Capcom expanded on its success with Capcom World 2, a quiz game. More notably, Mercs, Senju no Ukami 2, returned with 3-player simultaneous play, drivable vehicles, improved graphics, and a Mega Crash grenade mechanic, offering a significant upgrade over its predecessor. This page introduces the newly revealed Neo Geo system and some of its initial game offerings. The system, aptly named New Earth, is showcased alongside an arcade cabinet that can hold multiple games, offering players choice. Among the launch titles featured is Baseball Stars Professional, a significant upgrade from the Famicom hit, boasting enhanced graphics, sound, and a much larger roster of 16 teams, aiming to capture the Famicom audience. NAM 1975 is highlighted as the system's first shooting game, an intense, gun-style title with a 3D perspective set against a modern backdrop, offering powerful visuals and sound to stimulate competitive spirit. Top Players Golf brings a realistic golf simulation with 36 holes. Magician Lord is an action game starring the wizard Elta on a quest for 8 magical scrolls, noted for its impressive graphics that draw you into the world of magic. An adult-oriented mahjong game is also mentioned, featuring sampled music. Looking ahead, the page teases Riding Hero, a bike racing game supporting simultaneous 4-player play via communication. SNK plans to release new titles monthly, even suggesting that complex RPGs, which were challenging on video game systems, might appear on the Neo Geo, potentially becoming a major draw for arcades. This page focuses on the fast-paced puzzle game Klax, released by Namco in Japan and Atari Games internationally. Positioned as a thrilling, speed-oriented puzzle experience distinct from Tetris, it demands quick judgment and sharp reflexes from players. The article provides gameplay tips, emphasizing the importance of efficient paddle movement as the game speed increases. It explains special elements like the almighty block, which changes color, and the unique Big X stages where forming an X pattern yields a significant bonus. Success hinges on clearing specific tasks presented at the start of each stage, rather than just aiming for a high score through simple vertical lines. Higher points are awarded for creating horizontal and diagonal claxes. The game also features a 2-player mode, encouraging competitive play. Players can stack blocks on their paddle to set up combinations, though holding too many for too long is discouraged. Paying attention to the on-screen clear conditions is crucial, as the block fall speed accelerates. This page introduces the arcade game Blockseed, presented as a powered-up evolution of Tetris. It highlights the addition of 5 different items and a competitive versus mode, making the familiar falling block puzzle game much more exciting. The core gameplay involves clearing lines like Tetris, but strategically using power-up items that appear adds a new layer. The items include the shot to clear stubborn blocks, the pump to destroy groups of blocks, the 16-ton item to clear vertical lines, and a 4-line item. The article also mentions the appearance of Flicky as an item, which helps clear blocks. Successfully clearing lines featuring certain initial blocks triggers the appearance of these helpful power-ups. The versus mode is a key feature, allowing 2 players to compete directly. Clearing lines on your side sends blocks to your opponent's screen, adding pressure and strategy. The article expresses enthusiasm for the game's additions, noting that while based on Tetris, the items and versus mode give it a fresh feel. Screenshots show the gameplay with items, the impact of the pump item, the 16-ton item, and the distinct versus mode screen with a congratulatory image upon winning. This page features a special report on the Brunswick BowlerVision system, described as a revolutionary bowling experience. Developed by Brunswick, this system uses computer control to freely change the number and arrangement of pins, enabling completely new ways to play. It introduces 5 unique game modes beyond standard 10-pin bowling, including per bowling, crapshoot, clear the deck, full shot, and carousel. These modes are presented as engaging for advanced players seeking to hone their skills, those with averages over 200, and anyone looking for a different kind of bowling challenge, but are also designed to be accessible for beginners. A major highlight is the coach function, particularly the bowler track feature. This system meticulously recreates and displays the trajectory of your thrown ball, allowing players to analyze their technique and identify weak points. The latest version even offers data printouts for serious improvement. This coaching system is considered essential for anyone dedicated to elevating their bowling game. Screenshots show the system's interface consoles and the detailed ball tracking overlay on the lane. Bowler Vision promises to make bowling significantly more enjoyable and effective for players of all levels. The Brunswick Bowler Vision system expands beyond traditional bowling, with unique game modes designed for variety and excitement. Par bowling transforms bowling into a golf-like experience, challenging players to knock down pins in a set number of shots, with varying course difficulties. Crapshoot introduces a gambling element, using dice rolls to randomly generate pin setups, balancing skill with luck, and allowing 4 balls per turn. The page also hints at Clear the Deck, promising a high-impact mode focused on clearing all pins. These modes aim to offer diverse challenges and engaging experiences for bowlers of all skill levels. This page dives deeper into the unique modes offered by the Brunswick Bowler Vision system. Clear the Deck is revisited, described with pins visualized as missiles on an aircraft carrier deck, highlighting the strategic element of clearing them efficiently. Carousel introduces a distinct pin layout, emphasizing the importance of pin action, and noting a missing pin adds a twist to the challenge. Full Shot is presented as a demanding strike challenge mode, requiring significant physical effort across 30 frames, with only 1 ball per frame, aiming for a perfect 300 score. A section emphasizes the crucial nature of understanding pin action. Finally, a shop interview highlights the Brunswick Sports Garden as a departure from conventional bowling alleys, offering a variety of bowling experiences and a pleasant atmosphere, making it a destination worth visiting. This page introduces the BeepMD race, a unique review format where 4 reviewers' scores determine the outcome in a metaphorical race. The first game under scrutiny is Heavy Metal Les Guinos, a futuristic shooting game where you pilot an assault suit. The reviews highlight the game's detailed settings and graphics as strong points. However, the high difficulty is a recurring theme. One reviewer found the physics and momentum realistic, but felt the difficulty was a drawback. Another noted the graphics were good, but the character movement felt sluggish and wished for more focus on speed. A third appreciated the elaborate story and mech designs, but found the difficulty and message windows frustrating. The final reviewer praised the attempt to blend story with action, but admitted the difficulty prevented them from fully experiencing the narrative, questioning if it was their own skill level. Scores for Heavy Metal Les Guinos ranged from 5 to 6 across the reviewers. The section also mentions fewer reviews this month due to production timing and upcoming changes for future issues, including new review equipment and store features. This page continues the game review format, highlighting 3 new titles this month. In the second spot is Air Diver, a 3D shooting game putting you in the cockpit of an F-119 stealth fighter to take down terrorists. Reviewers note its realistic instrumentation but question the choice of weapons for an SF setting, suggesting it loses some depth compared to other 3D dogfighting games, but potential for future titles is acknowledged. The third spot features Final Blow, an arcade boxing port from Taito. Comments point out the challenge of 2D boxing and potential rough edges still in development, though overall it's seen as a quality port. Taking the fourth spot is Sega's classic Afterburner 2, ported by Dempa Shimbuncha. This port is highly praised for its faithfulness and high quality, despite the game's simple content. Reviewers consider it an excellent purchase, offering the arcade experience at home for a fraction of the cost of the real thing. The overall sentiment is that while other games this month are decent, Afterburner 2 is the standout recommendation, a must-buy title. The graphic quality of Final Blow is also mentioned positively. The page includes a note correcting a mention from last month's reviews regarding the game in the first spot. The next page features a comedic manga strip titled Megadraman Illisi, the first part of The Strongest Invasion in History. This story introduces the titular parody hero, who seems to be a humorous blend of Japanese tokusatsu characters, with references to the Mega Drive. The strip highlights Megadramon IX's rather bizarre abilities, like changing size from giant to incredibly small, being incredibly stingy, and even being able to cross-dress. A key reveal is his secret identity. He is actually Ensign Ida of Sega. Meanwhile, the villains have completed inputting all of Megadramon IX's combat data and are now confident they can defeat him. They declare they are no longer afraid and prepare to launch their invasion of Earth, setting up an absolute crisis for the hero. There's also a seemingly random, humorous observation included about seeing a real author. The next page continues the hilarious manga strip, Megadramon I9. Picking up from the previous page's looming invasion, we see a massive, muscular figure, identified as Suon, and labeled 32-bit, wreaking havoc. And So's message from the Kremlin about this giant destroying Moscow gets hilariously misinterpreted and sidetracked into discussions about overseas travel during its relay. Megadramon Ice appears, now in a new 9X form, but is quickly overwhelmed. The giant reveals himself to be none other than the Megadora Star Security Force captain and Megadramon's own father, a Stallone alien who is the strongest in the universe. He tells his son he stands no chance against this invincible power. Defeated and demoralized, Megadramon I quit, as the story is marked, to be continued. This page delivers a fantastic twist, revealing a familial connection to the seemingly unstoppable invader, and leaving our hero completely dejected. This page is a reader-present giveaway from the magazine, offering a total of 139 prizes. They've prepared a variety of items, including software, creeds, and more, encouraging readers to fill out the questionnaire and send it in. Up for grabs are some solid games and cool items. 3 Mega Drive games are featured: Afterburner 2, the classic arcade flight combat game; Final Blow, a boxing title; and Air Diver, a futuristic flight simulator. Each of these games comes with a screenshot preview and details about their publisher and price, with 5 copies of each game available. Beyond the games, they're giving away game music seeds, including a Best of the Year 1989 compilation, a CD featuring music from Armed F and Crazy Climber 2, and another for Hercules no Aiku 2. There's also a manga based on Dragon Quest, a Blockseed poster, a Hori track controller, and miniature Mega Drive console models, with a whopping 100 of those miniatures available. To enter, readers needed to fill out the questionnaire postcard from page 48 and mail it in. The deadline was April 7th, based on postmark, and winners would be announced in the May 8th issue. It looks like a great chance for readers to score some neat gear and collectibles. This magazine is transitioning to a monthly publication, starting with the upcoming issue released April 7th. They credit this to reader support and are now open to new goals and requests. A question telephone service is available for content inquiries. They are also seeking writers for general articles about Mega Drive games and other topics. Applicants must be over 18, reside near Tokyo, possess writing skills, and demonstrate diverse interests. Applications require game/hardware critiques and a resume. The page also includes staff information and instructions for a questionnaire postcard covering reader demographics, gaming habits, magazine preferences, how they learned about the magazine, past purchases, requests, planned game purchases, desired game ports, and opinions on Mega Drive software. An abstract illustration is also included. This page features a striking image of a futuristic spaceship or vehicle, heavily detailed and metallic, with a prominent blue cockpit. Across the bottom, large red text declares "Coming," signaling an upcoming event or release. On the left, vertical Japanese text reads, which translates to "The wave of emotion again," followed by ellipses. This suggests a return or continuation of something well-loved or emotionally impactful, hinting at a sequel or new title in a popular series. The Sega Mega Drive logo is clearly visible in the bottom left corner, indicating the platform for this mysterious upcoming title. Based on the imagery, this is almost certainly a teaser for a new game, potentially a shoot-'em-up or sci-fi adventure, promising an emotional experience for players. This page reveals the mystery title teased on the previous page. Thunder Force 2i from Technosoft, the highly anticipated horizontal scrolling shooter, is announced for a scheduled June release on the Sega Mega Drive. Featured on the page are 2 screenshots giving a glimpse of the action, depicting a fierce battle against a large mechanical boss and another segment with multiple fast-moving fiery enemies, showcasing the game's intense visuals and challenging gameplay. Technosoft is running a prize giveaway, offering 500 limited edition GALS telephone cards to players who can correctly answer a simple quiz about the name of their latest Mega Drive title. Entry requires sending a postcard with the answer by the end of March to their Nagasaki office. This page showcases an exciting lineup of upcoming Sega Mega Drive games. First up is Ghostbusters, based on the massive hit movie, where you'll bust ghosts and demons. The screenshot gives a taste of the action-packed gameplay. Next, we see Kido Keisatsu Patlabor, with the tentative title 98 Shiki Kido Seyo, an adventure game based on the popular anime where you tackle a coup d'etat plot. The image shows characters interacting, hinting at the story-driven nature. Finally, there's DJ Boy, described as a dancing action game with a rock beat, featuring detailed character movements. The screenshots show both animated character art and the side-scrolling beat-em-up gameplay. All three titles are scheduled for a May release, with Ghostbusters and DJ Boy priced at 6,000 yen, while Patlabor's price is TBD, but includes a backup function. The page also highlights the Mega Drive console itself, promoting its exciting 16-bit high power and listing the standard price of 21,000 yen. This page clearly builds anticipation for new titles hitting the console soon,